The smoke rose from 3 burning cities on the horizon. Hyunwoo stood at the communication tower window and watched his world die. He was old now, his fur gray with age, and he had seen many seasons pass on Villani Prime. But he never thought he would see this. The Krathen came without warning 6 months ago. Their ships were dark and brutal. Nothing like the peaceful vessels the Villani used for trade between their colonies. The Krathen wanted resources. They wanted workers. They did not care that the Villani were a peaceful people who had never raised weapons against anyone. "Sir, they have taken the northern colony," a young assistant said behind him. Her voice shook. The transmissions just stopped. Hyunwoo closed his eyes. That was 12 million people. Gone. Just like that. "Is the old beacon ready?" he asked. The assistant nodded. "But, sir, we do not even know where it sends the signal. The archaeologists found it in ruins that are thousands of years old. It might not even work." "But, then we have nothing to lose," Hyunwoo said. He walked to the ancient device. It was covered in symbols no one could read. The archaeologists said it was not made by Villani hands. Someone else left it here, long ago. Perhaps they meant it as a gift. Perhaps as a warning. Hyunwoo pressed his hand to the activation panel. The device hummed to life. Lights flickered across its surface, and then a pulse of energy shot into space. He did not know if anyone would hear it. He did not know if anyone would care. "Please," he whispered to the empty sky. "Someone, anyone, help us." Far across the galaxy, on a blue world circling a yellow star, the message arrived. Earth had been watching the stars for a long time. Humanity learned decades ago that they were not alone. They saw the great empires rise and fall through their telescopes. They watched wars fought over resources and territory. Humanity built ships in secret. They trained soldiers and pilots. They developed weapons that no one in the galaxy had seen before. Earth remembered its own bloody history and decided that if they ever went to the stars, they would go prepared. Captain Tae-min stood on the bridge of the ESS Indomitable when the distress call came through. He was a tall man, with sharp eyes and gray in his hair. He had served in Earth's Navy for 20 years. But this was his first deep space command. "Captain, we are receiving an unknown signal," the communications officer said. "It is old. Very old. The format does not match any current galactic standard." "Play it," Taemin ordered. The message filled the bridge. It was not in any human language, but the ship's computer worked to translate it. What came through was simple and heartbreaking. "This is Villani Prime. We are under attack. We are dying. If anyone can hear this, please help us. We have no weapons. We have no defenses. Please, help us." The bridge fell silent. Taemin looked at the star chart. Villani Prime was 2 weeks away, at maximum speed. "Get me command," he said quietly. The conversation with Earth Command was short. The orders were clear. Assess the situation and respond as needed. Earth had stayed hidden for 50 years. But some things were more important than hiding. "Prepare the fleet for jump," Taemin announced. "We are going to Villani Prime. Full combat readiness. This is not a drill." The crew moved with purpose. The Indomitable was not alone. 5 more human warships joined the formation. Destroyers, carriers, and support vessels. They were ready for war. Jiwon, the chief engineer, came to the bridge as they prepared to jump. She was younger than most of the senior officers, but her mind was brilliant. She understood technology, like others understood music. "Captain, I have been studying the transmissions from Villani space," she said. "The Krathen Empire has been expanding for 10 years. They use brute force tactics. Their technology is not advanced, but they have numbers. Can we beat them?" Taemin asked. Jiwon smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. "Sir, they have never seen what humans can do. They are in for a very bad surprise." The jump took 8 days. Human ships could move faster than most vessels in the galaxy because humans had learned to push their engines harder than anyone thought possible. Other species worried about safety margins. Humans worried about getting there in time. When they arrived at the edge of Vellani space, what they saw made every human on every ship clench their fists in anger. 3 colony worlds were burning. Krathan ships circled them like predators. On the surface, cities were in ruins. The long-range sensors picked up massive casualty numbers. "Captain," the tactical officer said, her voice tight with rage, "I am counting 15 Krathan warships. They are bombarding civilian centers. No military targets, just cities." Taemin stood from his chair. His face was calm, but his eyes were cold. "Battle stations. Weapons free. No warnings." "Sir, should we not attempt to communicate first?" a young officer asked. Taemin looked at the burning worlds on the screen. They communicated clearly enough. Now it is our turn to respond. The human ships moved forward, silent and deadly. The Krathan did not notice them at first. They were too busy destroying what remained of the colonies. Then the Indomitable opened fire. Human railguns fired projectiles at a fraction of the speed of light. Krathan shields, designed to stop energy weapons, might as well have been paper. 3 Krathan ships exploded in the first volley. The others scattered in confusion. "Unknown vessels. This is Krathan Battle Group 7. A transmission came through. You are interfering with Imperial operations. Withdraw or be destroyed." Taemin nodded to communications. "Send them our response. This is Captain Taemin of the Earth ship Indomitable. You are hereby ordered to cease all hostile actions and surrender your vessels. You have attacked a species that called for help. That makes you our problem now." The Krathan commander laughed. "Earth? We have never heard of you. You dare threaten the Krathan Empire? We do not threaten," Taemin said calmly. "We promise." The remaining Krathan ships attacked. It was a mistake. Human fighters launched from the carriers, moving with speed and precision that seemed impossible. Human ships dodged and weaved through Krathan fire, their pilots pulling maneuvers that would kill most species from the force alone. But humans were tough. Humans could take the punishment. In 12 minutes, every Krathan ship was destroyed or fleeing. Taemin opened a channel to Vellani Prime. "This is Captain Taemin of Earth. We received your distress call. We are here to help. Please respond." For a long moment, there was only static. Then a voice came through, old and tired and filled with disbelief. "This is Hyunwoo of Vellani Prime. You called," Taemin said simply. "Now show us who hurt you, and we will make sure they never hurt anyone again." On Vellani Prime, Hyunwoo looked at the younger Vellani around him. They were crying. Not from fear anymore, but from hope. Something new had arrived in the galaxy. Something that answered when you called for help. Humanity had come to the stars, and nothing would ever be the same again. The human ships formed a protective ring around Vellani Prime. From the surface, the Vellani could see them in orbit, gleaming in the sunlight like guardian stars. For the first time in months, they felt safe. Commander Minho stood in the landing bay of the troop transport ship. He was a stocky man with scars on his hands and determination in his eyes. Behind him, 3,000 Marines prepared for deployment. They checked weapons, secured armor, and studied maps of Vellani Prime. "Listen up," Minho said to his squad leaders. "Our mission is simple. There are still Vellani settlements under Krathan occupation. We get them out. Rules of engagement are clear. Any Krathan forces threatening civilians are to be eliminated. No mercy for those who hurt the innocent." A young lieutenant raised her hand. "Sir, what if they surrender?" Minho's expression was hard. "Then we take prisoners. But if they fight, we fight harder. Remember, these people called for help. We are the answer to that call. Do not let them down." The transport ships descended through the atmosphere. Vellani Prime was beautiful, with green fields and clear rivers, but the beauty was scarred by war. Smoke rose from bombed cities. Fields were burned. The Krathen had been thorough in their cruelty. On the ground, Hyun-woo met with Captain Tae-min in what remained of the capital city. The old Villani diplomat looked at the human captain with a mixture of gratitude and worry. "Your soldiers are very impressive," Hyun-woo said carefully. "But the Krathen Empire is vast. They have hundreds of ships, thousands of worlds. What you did to their scouting fleet will anger them. They will come back with more." Tae-min nodded. "We are counting on it. Let them come. We want them to see what happens when they attack people under our protection." Tae-min nodded. "Are counting. But why?" Hyun-woo asked. "You do not know us. We have nothing to offer you. Why would you risk war with an empire for strangers?" Tae-min was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Because someone has to. Because we know what it is like to be afraid. Humanity has a long history of war and suffering. We decided that when we went to the stars, we would be better than our past. When someone calls for help, we answer. It is that simple." In the Indomitable's medical bay, Dr. Sumin worked without stopping. The Villani brought their wounded, and she treated them with gentle hands. Sumin was a small woman with tired eyes and a big heart. She had seen too much suffering in her career, but she never let it make her cold. A young Villani child was brought in, barely alive. Burns covered her small body. Sumin worked for 3 hours to save her. When the child finally stabilized, Sumin allowed herself to cry. "They did this to children," she said to her assistant. "They bombed schools, hospitals, places where people should be safe." Her assistant, a young medic named Junho, clenched his fists. "Yes," Sumin agreed, wiping her eyes. "They will. In space." The Krathen response came faster than expected. A fleet of 60 warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. They were massive vessels, built for intimidation and destruction. Admiral Thexor commanded the fleet from his flagship. He was a Krathen war leader, proud and confident. They believed in strength above all else. Mercy was weakness. Compassion was a disease. "So these are the humans," Thexor said, looking at the small fleet defending Villani Prime. 6 ships. They destroyed a scouting fleet and think themselves warriors. Let us show them what real power looks like. His second-in-command was less confident. "Sir, the reports say these humans fight differently. Our scouts did not even damage them." "Our scouts were weak," Thexor snapped. "Watch how easily I crush these insects." The Krathen fleet advanced. Their ships were twice the size of the human vessels. Their weapons glowed with charging energy. They expected the humans to run. The humans did not run. Captain Tae-min watched the enemy fleet approach. "Tactical. Give me firing solutions on all targets. Fighter wings, you are clear to launch. All ships, remember your training. Stay calm. Stay focused. Show them what Earth can do." The battle began with a storm of missiles. Human ships launched hundreds of them, far more than should have been possible from vessels their size. The missiles were fast and smart, weaving through Krathen point defenses. Explosions bloomed across the Krathen fleet. Thexor roared in anger. "How do they carry so many weapons? Their ships are too small." Emily, his tactical officer, looked at the scanners in disbelief. "Sir, their ships are designed differently. They sacrifice comfort and space for weapons and speed. These humans built their vessels for war, only war." The human fighters launched next. Pilot Dae-hyun led his squadron into the chaos. He was young and reckless, with a grin that never faded even in combat. His fighters screamed through space, pulling turns that made the instruments scream warnings. "Red leader to all wings," Dae-hyun called over the radio. "Let us show these lizards how humans fly. Break and attack." The fighters swarmed the Krathen ships like angry insects. They were too fast, too small. and too many. Krathen gunners could not track them. Human pilots laughed and joked even as they dodged death by meters. This is Red 7. I have tone on that cruiser. Red 3. Watch your 6. You have 2 on your tail. I see them. Let them try to catch me. The human pilots were not just skilled. They were having fun. It terrified the Krathen. Aboard the indomitable, tactical officer Yuna coordinated the entire battle. She sat at her station, her eyes moving across a dozen screens at once. She saw patterns in the chaos. She saw opportunities where others saw only danger. Captain, the enemy flagship is moving to the rear, Yuna reported. Coward tactics. He wants to stay safe while his ships die. Can we reach him? Taemin asked. Yuna smiled coldly. Yes, sir. Sending coordinates now. If we punch through their center line, we can get a clear shot. Do it. The Indomitable accelerated forward, its engines burning brighter than any Krathen ship could manage. Human engineering pushed the laws of physics to their limits. The ship shook from the force, but it held together. Krathen ships tried to block their path. The Indomitable fired its main railgun, and a Krathen destroyer simply ceased to exist. The projectile punched through it, like it was made of paper. On the Krathen flagship, Thexor watched his fleet fall apart. Impossible. This is impossible. They are only 6 ships. Sir, we have lost 40% of our fleet, his officer reported. The humans are not slowing down. They are accelerating. They are actually speeding up. Thexor felt something he had never felt before. Fear. Real fear. All ships, retreat, he ordered. Fall back to the Empire. We need reinforcements. But the humans were not finished. Commander Minho's voice came over the tactical channel. Captain, my teams just reached the Krathen prisoner camp on the northern continent. What did you find? Taemin asked. There was a long pause. When Minho spoke again, his voice was shaking with rage. Sir, you need to see this. All of Earth needs to see this. The footage was sent to every human ship. What it showed made even the hardest soldiers go silent. The Krathen had not just imprisoned the Villani. They had tortured them, experimented on them, treated them like animals. Children were in those cages. Elderly, sick, all of them had suffered. Captain Taemin looked at the footage. Then he looked at the retreating Krathen fleet. Then he opened a channel to Earth Command. This is Captain Taemin. I am requesting full authorization for military action against the Krathen Empire. Not just defense, war. Total war. The response from Earth came minutes later. It was not just from the military. It was from the President of Earth. From the unified government that represented all of humanity. Authorization granted. The Krathen Empire is hereby declared an enemy of humanity. You are authorized to use any force necessary. Reinforcements are being mobilized. Show them what happens when they hurt those under our protection. Show them what humanity does to monsters. Taemin turned to his crew. Send a message to the Krathen Empire. Tell them this. You attacked people who called for help. You tortured the innocent. You murdered children. Humanity does not forgive this. Humanity does not forget this. We are coming for you. All of you. And when we are done, your empire will be a memory and a warning. The message was sent across the galaxy. Every species with communication technology heard it. The Krathen Empire heard it. They laughed at first. Then, they stopped laughing. Because 300 human warships jumped into Krathen space 2 days later. Earth had been preparing for this moment for 50 years. Now, the preparation was over. The war had begun. The human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel across 3 different star systems simultaneously. It was a coordinated assault unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. 300 ships appeared as one, striking at the heart of Krathen military power. Admiral Thexor stood in the war room on the Krathen homeworld. Around him, other military leaders argued and shouted. They had never faced an enemy like this before. How is this possible? One general demanded. We have fought wars for centuries. We conquered 40 species. How can these humans be so strong? An intelligence officer stepped forward, fear in his eyes. We analyzed the wreckage from the battle at Villani Prime. The humans have been building a war machine in secret for 50 years. While we thought they were primitive and isolated, they were watching us, learning from us, building weapons specifically designed to counter every tactic we use. Then we use different tactics. Thexor growled. It is too late for that, sir. They are already here. In orbit above Krathan Military Stronghold Beta 7, Pilot Dae-hyun led his fighter squadron through a storm of defensive fire. His fighter twisted and spun, dodging missiles and energy beams with centimeters to spare. Behind him, his squadron followed his every move. Red Leader to all wings. I am seeing a weakness in their defense grid. Section 4. Concentrate fire there. Copy that, Red Leader. On your wing. Dae-hyun accelerated so hard that the force pushed him back into his seat. His vision narrowed. His heart pounded. But he kept flying. Humans could endure forces that would kill most species. Their bodies were tough. Their will was tougher. He fired his missiles at the exact weak point in the shields. The explosions created a gap. Just for a moment. It was enough. 20 more fighters poured through, attacking the station's critical systems. That is for the children in the camps, Dae-hyun said quietly. On the ground, Krathan soldiers realized they were not just fighting in space. Human drop pods fell like meteors, crashing through buildings and defenses. Marines poured out, moving with speed and purpose. Commander Minho led the assault on a Krathan military command center. His armor was scarred from previous battles, but he moved like a machine. Behind him, his Marines advanced through enemy fire. Left flank, suppressing fire. Right flank, advance and clear. Move, move, move. The Krathan soldiers were larger than humans, stronger individually, but they had never trained to fight an enemy as coordinated as this. The humans moved as one unit. When one Marine provided cover fire, another advanced. When one needed to reload, 3 others filled the gap. It was not just training. It was art. A Krathan commander tried to rally his troops. Stand and fight. They are just small creatures. We are warriors. A human Marine shot him. Not with an energy weapon like most species used. With an old-fashioned chemical projectile weapon. The kind of weapon humans had used for hundreds of years. Simple, reliable, deadly. The Krathan line broke. They ran. Minho called to his troops. Secure the command center. Download everything. I want every bit of data about their operations. Especially information about other species they have enslaved. While the military action continued, Tactical Officer Yuna worked from the command ship. She sat surrounded by holographic displays, watching 3 separate battles at once. Her mind processed information faster than the computers could feed it to her. Captain, Krathan reinforcements are jumping in at Sector 7, she reported. How many? Captain Taemin asked. 50 ships. But they are positioned poorly. If we move our 4th fleet to intercept, we can catch them before they form up. WW. XS. Do it. Yuna sent the orders. Across the star system, human ships responded instantly. They moved with precision, cutting off the Krathan reinforcements before they could join the main battle. The Krathan admiral commanding the reinforcements watched in horror as his fleet was surrounded. They predicted our arrival point. How? How did they know? His tactical officer checked the data. Sir, they have been studying us. Every battle, every maneuver. They know how we think, how we fight. They are always 3 steps ahead. Then we surrender. We have no choice. The humans are not accepting surrenders yet, sir. The admiral felt his blood run cold. What do you mean? They want us to feel fear first. They want us to know we cannot win. Only then will they accept surrender. It was true. The human fleet destroyed every Krathan military vessel that resisted. But they did not target civilian ships. They did not bomb cities. They were not like the Krathan. They had rules. They had honor. But they were still terrifying. In the Galactic Council chambers, thousands of light years away, representatives from hundreds of species watched the war unfold. The Council was a loose organization, more for discussion than action. They had never been able to stop the Krathan Empire before. Now they watched as humans did what they could not. Council Speaker Velmara was a tall, thin alien with 4 arms. She spoke with authority, but her voice trembled. The humans have destroyed 3 Krathan military bases in 2 days. They have freed 17 enslaved worlds. They are fighting a war across multiple star systems simultaneously. This level of coordination, this level of power, it should not be possible. A council member from a water-dwelling species spoke up. Should we be celebrating? The humans are stopping the Krathan, yes. But what happens when they are done? Will they turn that power on the rest of us? They have not harmed any civilians, another member said. Only military targets, so far, but we have seen species gain power before. It always corrupts. Always. Velmara raised her hands for silence. We have sent a diplomatic ship to make contact with the human fleet. Perhaps we can understand their intentions. The diplomatic ship arrived at the human fleet's position 2 days later. It was met by Captain Taemin aboard the Indomitable. The diplomat was a species called the Hexari, known for their wisdom and neutrality. Captain Taemin, I am Ambassador Krell. The Galactic Council wishes to understand your goals. You have emerged from isolation with tremendous military power. You are crushing the Krathan Empire. What do you want? Taemin led the ambassador to a viewing window. Below them, a freed world celebrated. Former slaves danced in the streets. Human medical ships provided aid. Engineers helped rebuild. What do we want? Taemin repeated. Look at those people, Ambassador. They are alive, because we came when they called for help. That is what we want. Nothing more. You expect me to believe you have no imperial ambitions? No desire to conquer? Taemin turned to face the ambassador. His eyes were hard. Humanity learned a long time ago what conquest brings. Only death and suffering. We are not here to rule anyone. We are here to make sure no one like the Krathan can hurt the innocent again. Noble words. But power changes people. Perhaps. The ambassador left, not sure if he believed the human captain. But he could not deny what he saw. The humans were winning, but they were not acting like conquerors. Back at the battle, Engineer Jiwon worked in the ship's workshop. She had been studying captured Krathan technology for weeks. Now, she understood how it worked. More importantly, she understood its weaknesses. Captain, I have something, she called over the communication system. Taemin arrived at her workshop minutes later. What did you find? Jiwon held up a small device. The Krathan use a centralized command network for their fleets. Every ship connects to it. If we hack into this network, we can disrupt their entire military coordination. Can we do it? Already done. I have been inside their network for 3 days. I know where every Krathan military ship is, where they are going, what their orders are. She smiled. We can end this war in 1 week if we move now. Taemin looked at the small device. Such a tiny thing to end a war. What about their homeworld defenses? Strong, but not as strong as they think. They rely on the myth that their homeworld is unbeatable. No one has ever attacked it successfully. Then it is time to break that myth. The order went out to the entire human fleet. Every ship, every marine, every pilot. They were going to the Krathan homeworld. Not to destroy it, not to enslave it, but to end the Empire's ability to make war forever. Pilot Dae-hyun checked his fighter one last time. He had flown 40 combat missions in the last month. He was tired. His body ached. But he would fly one more mission. One more flight for all those who suffered under Krathan cruelty. Commander Minho gathered his Marines. This is the big one. The Krathan homeworld. They will fight hard because they have nowhere left to run. Stay sharp. Stay together. And remember why we are here. Tactical Officer Yuna prepared her plans. She had mapped every defense, every weapon, every possible response. The battle would be fierce, but she knew they would win. Humans always found a way. Dr. Suman prepared her medical bay for casualties. She hated war, hated what it did to people. But she understood why this war had to be fought. Some things were worth fighting for. Captain Tae Min stood on the bridge of the Indomitable as the fleet jumped toward the Krathan homeworld. Around him, his crew worked with calm efficiency. They were ready. All ships report ready, Captain, the communication officer said. Then let us finish this, Tae Min said. For Villani Prime. For all those who called for help. For everyone who suffered under the Krathan. Today, we end the Empire. The fleet jumped. When they emerged, they were face to face with the largest concentration of Krathan military power in the galaxy. The final battle had begun. The Krathan homeworld system was a fortress. Hundreds of defense stations orbited the planet. Thousands of automated weapons platforms. The largest concentration of warships in the Empire. They had prepared for this moment, knowing the humans would eventually come. What they did not prepare for was how the humans would fight. Captain Tae Min stood calmly on the bridge as alarms screamed warnings about the overwhelming enemy forces. Around him, his crew worked with steady hands. Fear was natural. Panic was not allowed. Captain, we count over 800 enemy vessels, the tactical officer reported. Defense stations are powering up. They are targeting our entire fleet. Good, Tae Min said. If they are focusing on us, they are not looking at what is coming behind us. At that moment, 300 more human ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel on the opposite side of the system. It was a pincer movement, catching the Krathan between two forces. Admiral Thex watched from the planetary command center, his claws dug into the armrest of his chair. Impossible. Our scouts reported their entire fleet was in front of us. Where did these ships come from? Crossed. His intelligence officer looked pale. Sir, the humans used some of their ships as decoys. They masked the energy signatures of half their fleet. We have been looking at false readings for hours. Humans do not have that technology. They do now, sir. The battle exploded across the system. Human ships moved in formations that seemed random, but were actually carefully planned. They drew fire away from each other. They covered weak points. They acted like a single organism with hundreds of parts. Pilot Dae-hyun led his squadron toward a massive Krathan defense station. His fighter's computer screamed warnings about the number of weapons locked onto him. He ignored them. Red Squadron, pattern Delta 7. Hit them fast and get out faster. His squadron dove toward the station, weaving through defensive fire. Trailing fire. Red 12 was clipped, but kept flying. For Red 9, Dae-hyun shouted, firing everything he had at the station's weak point. The station's shield flickered and died. Heavy human warships followed up, their railguns punching through the armor like it was thin metal. The station broke apart, but there were dozens more. On the ground, Commander Minho prepared for the second phase of the operation. Human troops were already landing on the planet's surface. Not to invade the cities. Not to harm civilians. But to secure military targets and prevent the Krathan from using orbital bombardment weapons. First and second companies move on the Northern Command Center. Third and fourth, secure the spaceport. Remember, civilian areas are off limits. Anyone who harms non-combatants will answer to me personally. His Marines moved through the city with practiced efficiency. Krathan military forces tried to stop them, but the fight was one-sided. Human tactics were too good. Human weapons were too effective. Then something unexpected happened. A Krathan civilian ran toward the human position, waving a white cloth. Minho raised his hand, stopping his troops from firing. "I am Pex Ara," the Krathan said in broken galactic common language. "I represent Civilian Council. Please. We do not want to fight. The military forced us into this war. Many Krathan citizens do not support the Empire's cruelty." Minho lowered his weapon. "You are saying your own government forced you?" "Yes. The military rules with fear. They conscript our children, take our resources. Anyone who speaks against them disappears." Pexara's voice shook. "We heard what humans do. You free slaves. You protect the weak. Can you protect us from our own military?" Minho looked at his lieutenant. This was not in the mission plan. They came to destroy the Krathan military, not to navigate civil war. "Get me Captain Taemin," he said. "On the Indomitable." Commander Soo-hyun listened to the report from the ground. She was second in command of the fleet. A woman with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much war. She had fought in Earth's last major conflict 20 years ago. She knew that war was never simple. "Captain, we have a situation," she told Taemin. "Krathan civilians are asking for our protection against their own military. What are your orders?" "Taemin. Sixty-Tae. Taemin." Taemin was silent for a moment, watching the battle rage in space. Then he spoke. "Our mission is to stop the Krathan Empire from hurting others. If their own civilians are victims too, then they are under our protection as well. Tell Minho to secure civilian areas. No Krathan military forces are to enter those zones." "Sir, that will complicate the mission significantly." "I know. But it is the right thing to do." Soo-hyun nodded and sent the orders. She had served with Taemin for 10 years. She knew he would never take the easy path if it meant abandoning innocence. The battle in space continued for 3 days. Human ships took losses. Good people died. Pilot Dae-hyun lost half his squadron. Commander Minho saw Marines fall. Dr. Suman worked until she could barely stand, trying to save everyone she could. But slowly, methodically, the human fleet gained ground. Engineer Ji-won worked around the clock, coordinating electronic warfare against the Krathan command network. She hacked their communications, disrupted their targeting systems, made their own technology work against them. "Captain, I have access to their orbital defense grid," she reported. "I can shut it down." "Do it." With a few commands, Ji-won disabled hundreds of automated weapons platforms. The Krathan defenders watched in horror as their defenses simply turned off. "How are they doing this?" a Krathan commander shouted. "Our systems are supposed to be unhackable." His technical officer looked defeated. "The humans understand our technology better than we do. They have been studying us for decades. Every weakness, every flaw. They know exactly where to strike." Tactical Officer Yuna saw the opening. "Captain, their defenses are down. We have a clear path to their military command center. Take the shot," Taemin ordered. A spread of human missiles streaked toward the command center. But they were not normal missiles. They were precision weapons, designed to destroy only the military sections of the building. The civilian areas nearby were untouched. Admiral Thexor watched the missiles coming. He knew this was the end. "Activate the planet killer," he ordered. His officers stared at him. "Sir, that weapon will destroy half the planet. Our own cities. Our own people. If I cannot have victory, then no one will. The Krathan Empire will die. But it will take these humans with it." Before he could complete the order, Ji-won detected the weapon powering up. "Captain, they are activating a massive weapon. If it fires, it will kill billions. Krathan and human." "Can you stop it?" Taemin asked. "Not remotely. Someone needs to get to that facility and shut it down manually." Commander Minho heard the transmission. He looked at his position. The weapon facility was 2 kilometers away, through heavy enemy resistance. They had maybe 10 minutes. "We are moving," he said simply. All units. On me. Double time. We have a planet to save. His Marines ran through the city. Krathen military forces tried to stop them, but nothing could stop humans when they decided someone needed saving. They fought through barricades, climbed over rubble, pushed forward no matter what. Inside the weapon facility, Thexor watched the countdown. 5 minutes, until the weapon fired. The humans would never reach him, in time. Then the door exploded inward. Commander Minho walked through the smoke, his armor scorched and damaged. Behind him, 24 Marines followed. They had fought through an entire battalion to get here. Step away from that weapon, Minho said, his voice calm despite the blood on his armor. Thexor laughed. You cannot stop it now. The countdown has begun. We will all die together. Then you die alone. Minho shot the control panel. Sparks flew. The countdown stopped. Thexor roared and charged. He was twice Minho's size. But Minho was human. He sidestepped, used the Krathen's own momentum against him, and put him face first into the floor. It is over, Minho said. Your empire is done. Your military is defeated. Surrender now, or we will make you surrender. Thexor looked at the human standing over him. This small creature had destroyed everything he built, everything he believed in. The Krathen were supposed to be the strongest, the most feared, but the humans were stronger. Not just in weapons, in will. I surrender. Thexor said quietly. The word went out across the entire Krathen military. Their admiral had surrendered. The war was over. On the indomitable, political officer Minjae arrived to handle the next phase. She was a diplomat, not a warrior. But she understood that winning the peace was just as important as winning the war. Captain, I need to speak with the Krathen government. What remains of it? Taemin nodded. What are your plans? The Krathen Empire is finished. But the Krathen people remain. We need to help them build something better. Something that does not hurt others. The surrender terms were harsh but fair. The Krathen military was disbanded. All enslaved species were freed immediately. Reparations would be paid. War crime tribunals would be held. But the Krathen people would not be destroyed. They would be given a chance to change. Some humans disagreed. Commander Su Hyun stood with Captain Taemin, looking at the planet below. They killed thousands of our people, she said. They tortured innocents. And we are giving them mercy? Yes, Taemin said. Because that is what makes us different from them. We could destroy them. Easily. But we choose a harder path. We choose to be better. I hope you are right, Captain. I hope they deserve the chance we are giving them. Time will tell. But everyone deserves a chance to change. Even former enemies. On Vellani Prime, Hyun-woo received the news. The war was over. The Krathen Empire was defeated. His people were safe. He wept. Not just from relief, but from wonder. They actually did it, he said to his assistant. We called for help, and they came. And they won. And now they are helping our enemies rebuild instead of destroying them. What kind of species does this? Ground. His assistant had no answer. Neither did anyone in the galaxy. Humanity had come to the stars. And they brought something the galaxy had forgotten. Hope. 5 years had passed since the Krathen Empire fell. On Vellani Prime, the cities had been rebuilt. The fields were green again. Children played in parks that once were battlefields. The scars remained, but life had returned. Hyun-woo stood at the same communication tower where he had sent the desperate message so long ago. He was older now, his fur almost completely gray, but his eyes were bright with purpose. Next to him stood a young Vellani named Hyeri. She was a student, studying human history and culture. Her name was chosen carefully. In the human language called Korean, it meant wisdom and intelligence. Many young Villani now had human names. It was a way of honoring those who saved them. Teacher Hyunwoo. Is it true that humans were afraid when they first came to save us? Hyri asked. The old diplomat smiled. Yes, child. They were very afraid. But they came anyway. That is what makes them special. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite fear. I want to be like them when I grow up. Then study hard, learn well. The humans taught us that anyone can be a hero if they choose to be. Across the galaxy, on the former Krathan homeworld, now simply called Krathos, former Admiral Thexor worked in a garden. It was part of his rehabilitation sentence. War criminals were not executed by human justice. They were reformed, made to understand the harm they caused. Thexor tended to plants that would feed families. The same families whose relatives he had ordered killed. It was humbling, painful, but necessary. A human supervisor named Junki watched him work. Junki was a young man, barely 30, but he had wisdom beyond his years. You are getting better at this, Junki said. It is honest work, Thexor replied. More honest than war. Do you regret what you did? Thexor stopped working. He looked at his claws, stained with soil instead of blood. Every day, I see their faces in my dreams. The ones I hurt. I cannot undo what I did. But perhaps I can grow enough food to feed 100 families. It is not enough. It will never be enough. But it is something. That is all anyone can do. Something. On the Krathan homeworld, something remarkable was happening. The civilians who had asked for human protection were building a new government. A democracy. They called it the Krathan Republic. It was young and fragile, but it was growing. Pexera, the civilian who had first approached Commander Minho, was now a council member. She worked with human advisors to build laws that protected everyone, not just the strong. We made mistakes for so long, she told a gathering. We let our military rule us with fear. We conquered others because we thought strength was all that mattered. The humans showed us that real strength is protecting those weaker than you. That is the kind of strength we must build now. On Earth, in the capital city, Admiral Tae-min stood before the unified human government. He had been promoted after the war, but he still served on the Indomitable. It was his home. Admiral, your report on the Galactic Protection Coalition, the President said. Tae-min stepped forward. Madam President, the coalition now has 40 member species, all committed to the principle that no one should suffer what the Villani suffered. We have established rapid response fleets, humanitarian aid networks, and the Echo Protocol. Explain the Echo Protocol for the record. Any species in the galaxy can send a distress call. If they are being attacked, if they are suffering, if they need help, that call will be heard, and it will be answered. No one will wait alone in the dark anymore. The President nodded. And how do we ensure we do not become the new empire? We have so much power now. History shows that power corrupts. We remember where we came from. Tae-min said simply. We remember our own wars, our own suffering, and we have built checks into the system. No single human commander can declare war. No single nation controls the fleet, and every action we take is reviewed by civilian oversight. We are warriors, yes, but we serve the people. All people. Not just humans. In the Indomitable's engineering bay, Ji-won worked with alien engineers from a dozen species. They were designing new technology together. Not weapons, tools, medical devices, faster-than-light communication systems that would let any world call for help instantly. The problem is power consumption, a Hexery engineer said. These devices need too much energy. Ji-won looked at the designs. What if we use a cascade system? Multiple small power sources instead of one large one. It is more complex, but more reliable. A Villani engineer studied the proposal. That could work. With redundancy. Even if some systems fail, the message still gets through. They worked together, each species bringing their own expertise. Humans were good at adapting and improvising. The Hexari understood energy systems. The Villani knew agriculture and could help design systems for rural worlds. Together, they were stronger than any one species alone. This was humanity's real gift to the galaxy. Not weapons. Connection. Commander Minho had retired from active service. He now ran a training program, teaching alien species how to defend themselves. His students came from worlds that had been enslaved, worlds that had been conquered. They wanted to make sure it never happened again. Defense is not about being the strongest, he told his class. It is about being prepared. It is about working together. One soldier is strong. A unit is unstoppable. His students practiced formations. They learned tactics. But more importantly, they learned that they did not have to be victims anymore. One student, a young Villani named Teo, approached after class. Commander, why do humans help us learn to fight? Do you not worry we will use these skills against you someday? Minho smiled. If you use what I teach to protect your people, then I have succeeded. If you use it against innocence, then I have failed as a teacher. I trust that you will choose wisely. But what if we do not? Then we will stop you. Just like we stopped the Krathen. But I do not think we will need to. You understand what it means to suffer. People who understand suffering rarely inflict it on others. Dr. Suman worked at the new Galactic Medical Institute. It was built on neutral ground, a station that orbited a star with no planets. Here, doctors from every species learned from each other. She taught a class on trauma care. Her students included species that had been enemies just years before. The body is different for each species, she told them. But pain is universal. Fear is universal. When you treat a patient, you are not treating a human or a Krathen or a Villani. You are treating someone who is suffering. That is all that matters. A former Krathen military medic raised his hand. Dr. Suman, I treated wounded soldiers who hurt your people. How can you stand to teach me? Dom. Suman looked at him. She remembered the wounded from the war, the children she could not save. But she also saw the person in front of her, trying to learn, trying to be better. Because you are here to learn to heal, not to harm. That is enough for me. Pilot Dae-hyun had a new job too. He trained the next generation of pilots. His students were not just human anymore. They were from every species in the coalition. Speed is not about going fast, he told them as they sat in simulators. It is about control. Power without control is just chaos. Now, let us see if you can handle a level 5 combat scenario. His students flew through the simulation, making mistakes, learning, improving. Some crashed. Some succeeded. All of them got better. Not bad, Dae-hyun said when they finished. But I can do it with one hand tied behind my back and my eyes closed. His students laughed. They had heard his stories. They thought he was exaggerating. He was not. Tactical Officer Yuna worked at the Galactic Strategic Center. She helped coordinate defense plans for dozens of worlds. Her mind, which once planned battles, now planned peace. The key is early warning, she explained to a council of alien leaders. We need to know when threats emerge before they become crises. That means intelligence networks, cooperative observation posts. Trust. Trust is difficult, one leader said. Our species was betrayed before. I know, Yuna said. But trust is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Start small. Share information on minor threats. Build from there. It was slow work. Harder than fighting battles. But she believed in it. On the Indomitable, Captain Taemin received an alert. A new distress call. A species called the Orvani was under attack by pirates. Their world was remote, small. Most of the galaxy would ignore them. But the Echo Protocol did not ignore anyone. Taemin called his crew to the bridge. Many were new faces. The veterans who had fought the Krathen had moved on to other duties. But the spirit remained the same. "We have a distress call," he announced. "The Orvani are under attack. They need help." The bridge crew responded instantly. No questions. No hesitation. This was what they trained for. This was their purpose. "Plot a course," Taemin ordered. "Maximum speed. Let the Orvani know we are coming." As the ship prepared to jump, Taemin thought about that day 5 years ago, when they first heard Hyunwoo's desperate call. When they decided that humanity would be something different in the galaxy, something better. The decision had cost them. Thousands had died in the war with the Krathen. More had been wounded. All of them carried scars, visible and invisible, but they had also saved billions, freed the enslaved, brought hope to those who had none. The Indomitable jumped to faster than light speed. Across the galaxy, on Vellani Prime, the old beacon that Hyunwoo had activated 5 years ago was now a monument. People came from all over the planet to see it, to remember the day they called for help and someone answered. Young Hyeri stood before it with her classmates. They had come on a field trip to learn about history. "This is where it all began," their teacher said. "One call, one desperate message, and the galaxy changed forever." "Teacher, do you think the humans will always come when someone calls?" a student asked. The teacher looked at the monument. Then, at the sky, where human ships patrolled, keeping them safe. "Yes," the teacher said, "because that is who they are. They are the ones who answer. They are the ones who come. And they are the ones who stand between the innocent and the darkness." "What if they need help someday?" Hyeri asked. "What if the humans are the ones who call?" The teacher smiled. "Then we will answer. That is what they taught us. When someone calls for help, you go. No matter who they are. No matter the cost. You go. Because that is what heroes do." High above Vellani Prime, a human patrol ship detected the faint signal of the old beacon. It still pulsed, still sent its message into space. But now, it was not a cry for help. It was a promise. "You called. We came, and nothing could stand against us." Not because humans were the strongest. Not because they had the best weapons. But because when someone needed help, they answered. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not fear. Not power. Hope. And the echo of that hope would ring across the stars for generations to come.